chapter 5, verse 4. All the Upanishads are likened to a cow. The cowherd boy is Krishna. Arjuna is the calf. The people of purified intellect are the drinkers of the milk, and the milk is the Bhagavad Gita. Chapter 5, verse 4. The fools, not the learned ones, speak of Sānkhya and Yoga as different. Anyone who properly resorts to even one of them gets the results of both. Sānkhya yogo pritak bala pravadanti na panditaha ekamappya sthita samyak ubayor vindate phalam. So here the Lord is speaking about Sānkhya and Yoga. These are the two broad paths which people take, and depends on the qualifications, how competent you are. It depends which path you will take. Now, the question had arisen, well, if you are confusing me with all these kind of elaborate expressions, Arjuna says, you tell me which one is the best, Sānkhya or Yoga? And then he says, the Lord says that better than renunciation is the practice of karma yoga. So here he is now going to clarify what he means by the Sānkhya and Yoga. The commentator had already clarified these two paths in the very beginning of the second chapter. The second chapter is Sānkhya Yoga. The third chapter is the Karma Yoga. And the fourth chapter was a kind of a blend of both. And now in the fifth chapter, he is confused, saying, which one is good enough for me? And the same doubt he had picked up in the third chapter. Well, why are you goading me into this horrible action when if you say that the renunciation of action is good? So the Lord, from here, he is going to explain. He explains it as Sānkhya and Yoga. The Sānkhya and Yoga. Now, what is Sānkhya? Sānkhya is knowledge. Well, yes, we know. Samyak, this is the correct properly. What? After studying the Vedas, the knowledge that has risen from the Vedas, Samyak Rupena. And when one is established in that, is called Ikhyayate, is knowledge. So, perfect knowledge. And the commentators are saying there is something called the conviction. There are two types of conviction. One is the Sānkhya conviction, Sānkhya Buddhi, and Yoga Buddhi. So we'll just skim over these two kind of qualifications. So there are two types of convictions. One is that the conviction that the self, the Atman, is beyond all the body and all its changes, and it is beyond even the idea of the agent and an experience of karta and bhokta. This conviction has become natural in that Sankhya yogi's mind, the person of knowledge. There is a steadfastness in knowledge. Now, this has become natural. When? After what? After the practice of yoga. And what is practice of yoga? It's a yoga buddhi. That is, I am the doer, yes, And I have to discern between what is right and what is wrong. I have to perform what is prescribed duties, and what I have to discard what is prohibited duties, and I have to do this, so much of japa and dhyana and this and that. This is the yoga buddhi. The practice of yoga buddhi will lead to the conviction of Sankhya buddhi. Because ultimately, you see what happens is, you cannot have multiple goals. That's why you're saying, Bala, childish people, pravadanti, child talk, baby talk. You heard of this? That's it. Baby talk, pravadanti. Not pandita, not the wise people. Fools speak about the Sankhya and the yoga as different. Not the wise. The wise knows. In what context? There are these two types of personalities. Two types of, you can say, practices. Yes, but the goal is one, liberation. And like, Shri Ramakrishna says, Jatamat Tatapat. As many opinions, so many paths. Every path will lead you to the goal. Now, there may be, and there are differences in the paths, and there is a necessity of having differentiation in the paths, because these paths are designed for different types of aspirants. There are some with devotion, there are some with concentration, yoga, there are some who would like to keep on working, they are the karma yogis, and all this. Some want to jump and sing and dance, some want to sit down and quietly and contemplate, some want to study. The world is made of different types of aspirants according to the grade of the mind. What does it mean, the grade of the mind? The purity of the mind. And how much concentration is there in the mind. So, your path to the divine should not be kind of uniform for everybody. This is how I will go to the divine, so everybody should follow. In Hinduism, that has been discarded from the very, very beginning. One coat fits all business is not religion. It may be something else, but not religion. Everyone should have his or her own coat. And that is what the freedom that's given to experiment, to understand where you are standing, and from there proceed. Don't imitate others. Follow your own path. So this latitude has been given. There has been general rules, general morality, follow them. So the person of yoga buddhi, the conviction of yoga, the buddhi is intelligence also. What happens is, we all have this idea of the self. All of us. Okay? And the self is now so much enmeshed with the body and the mind and everything that it has kind of lost itself. You see, a person says I, and the body idea rises, or the identity, or the personality, or possessions, or name, or fame, all these things rise. The I has got nothing to do with this nonsense, but it has become identified. So it's called astitva. Your astitva is there, you know it, but you know it as an agent, a doer, and an experiencer. Oh, this is for me, that is for me, this is not for me, that's not mine, I don't like this. So this feeling of identity, self-identity, has to be detached from the idea of all these things which are trying to impinge upon it. This is a practice of yoga. You slowly, I am not the body. Yeah, I'm not the body. Okay. So the self, the astitva, detaches itself. See, because when you think you're the body, your body is attached to hundreds of things out. So astitva, the I, the identity also gets attached to it. So the process of detaching oneself from one's instruments, body and the senses and the mind, etc., and freeing it is the path of yoga. That. The second stage comes when you know now that this identity of mine, which is, it is clear now, distinct. This is not me and this is me. But I do not know the real nature of that. The swarupa I do not know. I know the astitva. I know that it's me, and have kind of detached myself to the practice of yoga from all these things, and I've come back to myself. But the real nature, the swarupa, is not known. And for that is then you have the color sānkhya buddhi. So the conviction of the steadiness in the path of knowledge. So these sānkhya buddhis, these people with conviction of the sānkhya, they are identified with that. What is that? That is the truth, the supreme truth. No longer they are identified with this small astitva and all that. They have known the distinction. So the first path is gradually to wean yourself away from all the distractions. Make your mind sattvic, your mind and the senses and the body. Or simply sitting down and meditating, the mind is in a state of tamas. Tamas in the sense darkness. And you close your eyes, you are seeing only darkness. Oh my God. And you think you're meditating. No, that's not meditation. Or you're sitting and trying to meditate and the mind is restless. I'm meditating. No, that's not meditation. It might be something else you're doing. Simply sitting down does not mean you are doing meditation. So you either fall asleep or your mind has gone to the Antarctic Circle and is feeling cold, it's coming back. So this practice is taken up by the yogis, those with the conviction of yoga, gradually makes the body and the senses and the mind sattvic. And then in that state of sattva, one can discern what is me and what is not me. Okay. There, even in the brain, there is a part of the brain which tells you that this is the self and this is the non-self, not self. So here you know the distinction, and this distinction has to become very clear. This is that astitva, that idea of identity, self-identity, which is now it's yoked to the supreme truth, supreme self. That is yoga. So the wise people know this. It's not different. It is taken one after another, yugapat. Because until and unless you are not competent to rise to this level of Sānkhya, you should work. And that is what is karma yoga. And how to work, we have seen how the Lord has said that the person should be equipoised, should not be disturbed in success and failure, in love and hatred. Keep on working steadily. And that person, when the person works, that person automatically renounces. So there is no fundamental difference between sannyasa, karma yogascha, nishreyasa karabhuvo. Both lead to the highest goal. So both. Oh yes, very, very good. Otherwise, the Sankhya, the Gyanis, they say, we are the elite class. These guys, they are the, you can say, float Sam, jet Sam. They come and they go. But they don't realize that at one point of time, they were the float Sam and jet Sam. They had come up. So in all our dealings, especially in religious dealings, what happens is we try to typecast people. Oh, that person worships that God. Oh, hopeless. That person worships that. They have that religion. And Sri Ramakrishna is very clear that there is a tank and there are steps leading to it. From one flight of stairs, somebody says it is pani, somebody says it is jal, and somebody says aqua, somebody says water. It's the same thing that is being said in different languages. So truth is expressed in different languages, and different people approach that. It's approaching the same thing. So here, the commentator also is making clear that the babies, fools, not the pandits, speak of Sānkhya, that is the path of knowledge, and Karma Yoga as different. Anyone who properly practices or resorts to even one of them gets the results of both. So one should not feel, oh, this path, it's kind of low key, low level. No, it's nothing like that. And Sri Ramakrishna is constantly insisting that one must pray sincerely. Well, it's very important. I remember long time ago, here I was, as you keep on practicing, you have a doubt whether your practices are okay or no. You have a doubt about the goal. So once I had this kind of doubt. And then I went to my guru. Now you see, it's very difficult for, I just couldn't say, nothing was coming out. He's looking at me and I'm feeling so small. And I said, does Sri Ramakrishna listen to prayers? And he looked straight into me. And just one word he said softly, yes. That word softly uttered was like a boom, like a kind of an atom bomb, boom inside. Wow. What doubt? What doubt? I was fortunate to have him. But people, if they doubt whether this path is right or wrong, they haven't even started on the path and they're already deliberating whether this path will take me to that goal or no. Start walking on it. Take the road. And before they do anything, they are doubting. At least I started doubting when I had already started walking. I said, so, doubts will come. But the practice of karma yoga, that is the yoga buddhi, that conviction, yes, this is what is going to lead me to this place. Liberation. If you don't have that conviction, you don't have that faith in yourself, and that's what Swami Vivekananda said, first you have to have faith in yourself. Your head is constantly whirling about with every kind of opinion that's coming your way. You hear something and you go there. You hear something, you go there. Something comes here and you look there. So, Sri Ramakrishna also gives an example of, like when a soldier has put a bayonet in front on the rifle, his, you can say, eyesight is on the tip of that bayonet, always. He's not going to look here and there. He'll get killed. So this is how we need to walk the path. Yoga, path of yoga, karma yoga. Now, what is karma yoga? They said, to be busy, to constantly work, but without the idea of results. You relinquish whatever results you're going to get to the Lord. This is the karma yoga in its, in essence. Karma Yoga does not say, do this and don't do that. Nothing like that. And Swamiji has explained it very broadly. Whatever you do, whatever you think, whatever you talk is karma. Dedicate all those things to the Lord. So, should I do a little bit selective work for the Lord? No. Do more work. The more you do, the better it is.
Just one, so quickly, I would have 10% of battery. For some reason, the phone is not.
I don't know what you're going to do, but I'm going to keep on saying.
Okay, I'm just let me know. Yeah,
So, the fools, not the learned ones, speak of Sānkhya, the path of knowledge, and karma as yoga is different. So, take up any one. You practice it sincerely, and as you keep on practicing, you will find you have reached the goal. The goal is liberation, and that is what. So, the next verse also clarifies the same thing. Yat sānkhye prapyate sthanam tad yogairapi gamyate ekam sānkyam cha yogam cha yapashyati sapashyati. Sthanam, that state that is reached by the Sankhyas, is reached also by the yogis. He sees, who sees Sānkhya and Yoga as one. That person sees. What does he see? That person sees that, yeah, it is both. Okay, they're one. Now, what happens is, you'll say, oh, the Sānkhya is as Yoga. No, like I said, everybody has to live. Okay, there are some people who are living on a different plane. And there are some people who are living in the lowest planes. Now, both are called living. But there's a huge gulf of, you can say, difference between these two. So, from the externals, it's very difficult to judge a person. So, that person's inner conviction itself will, of course, later on express itself. Both are, you can say, good. Both are paths to knowledge. But this Sānkhya, he or she, they base their whole life on renunciation. And this renunciation is based on knowledge. So everything they do has the basis of knowledge. Like, oh, you abandon this thing because it's painful. No, it's not pain. It is painful, it's not, I don't like it. So I give it up. And the scriptures say, give things up. But if I do it ignorantly, that is no renunciation. That is no knowledge at all. It does not reflect. I'll give it up because I am transcending the lower for the higher. And as I keep on going higher and higher and higher, I will see that the renunciation has become natural. So when you renounce things through knowledge, that is Sānkhya. When you practice yoga through knowledge, not like mindlessly keep on doing that same thing over and over again. You sit down and you're doing mindlessly. Yesterday I was saying there was something like cognitive ease. We like to do things which are kind of easy on the mind, which does not need too much of energy. It does not need any kind of conflict. Cognitive stress is when the mind is become active. The cortex, cerebral cortex is discerning things, pushing away things. So the path of yoga also should not be mindless. It should be, you should be vigilant, you should be collected, you should be hyper awake, and you should be concentrated. Simply doing, I'm doing karma yoga, and what do we are supposed to do? I'm doing this, but we are doing all this mindlessly. Karma yoga is to bring your mind to a kind of high focus and intensity. If that concentration or intensity in this karma is not there, it's no yoga at all. And then, of course, you dedicate your actions to the Lord. Yeah, I've done this for you. I've done this for you. I've done this for you. So every aspect of your life has become awakened. People talk about liberation and awakening and enlightenment. I tell them, you become enlightened in what you do now, right now. You're sitting, you're walking, you're talking and doing all these things. Become enlightened here. Do it in an enlightened way. Don't do it in a kind of brutish, dull way. And then the people want, I want enlightenment. How is that possible? So it is here the practice of karma, yoga, will awaken you to your own powers, to your own, you can say, the qualities in your mind. It will awaken you to your own reality. And slowly, as we keep on doing, that's why he's saying, that state is reached by the Sankhyas, is also reached by the yogis as well. One who sees Sankhya and Yoga as one really sees. Ekam Sankhyam cha Yogam cha ya pashyati. That person sees, who really sees as Sankhya and Yoga as one. So the eyes first see and then the rest of the senses and the body follows. It's always like that. So when you see a particular thing, and we had to see correctly because this external world was a very unsafe place. We had to see things, otherwise we would have become prey. People are all trying to kind of eat us. And we have to survive in all this. So we develop a visual system that was supposed to kind of protect you. Seeing things. And that is why we are, you can say, beings with an orientation to see things. And when you see things, the rest of your instruments of the body and all move towards it. It's always like that. So people say, first you think and then you see. No, you see things and then you think. It's always like that. You try it out. Either you see it outside or you see it in a memory. You always see things first. You pin what you have got to do or where you have got to go, and then everything else follows. So this is how slowly say, one who sees this as Sankhya and Yoga as non-different, they really see, not the others. The others are Andenaiva niyamana yatanda, like the blind leading the blind. They're going around. Once you see that this is what you are, this is my state, and the state I have to attain is this. It can be done by Sankhya, it can be done by Yoga. Whatever you do it through knowledge. The next verse is, he is now fine-tuning things. Sanyasastu mahabhavo dukkam aptuma yogataha yoyuktor munir brahma nachirena digacchati. Yeah, he said, but mighty armed one, sannyasa, that renunciation, is hard to attain without karma yoga. That is the whole thing. The meditative person equipped with yoga attains Brahman without delay. Nachirena adhigacchati. A person who is meditative. So here is saying yoga yukto, the person becomes a yogi. He becomes meditative, mananashil, muni. And what he's saying? That person attains Brahman without delay. When he's saying renunciation is to attain karma yoga. that the height of, you can say, renunciation, the height of knowledge. You see, it's not a question of just, people get frightened with renunciation, renunciation, renunciation. What is renunciation? Renunciation is same as knowledge. The person who has knowledge, a person has renunciation. Is that equal? The less knowledge a person has, the more the person is attached to the world. The more this is mine, this is mine, this is mine, this is mine. And then as knowledge keeps on growing, the body, this is not mine. This has come by the laws of nature, it will go by the laws of nature. This is not mine. There's a kind of gradual detachment from external things, and then even this. This is my thought. No, this is not my thought. Although thoughts are coming and going, let it come and go. So the more you have knowledge, the more you have renunciation, the more you let go. And what do you let go? Everything that is limited, everything that is small, everything that is unreal, you let go. And you keep on graduating slowly, step by step by step, towards the goal, knowledge. See, when you're climbing a mountain, you go with the huge backpacks and all these things. And as you keep on climbing up, you've got to reduce all that extra weight, which is nothing but dead weight for you. So as you ascend, you've got to become lighter and lighter. If you're going to reach the top with all the hundreds of cares and worries and things that you have, I will realize God. But you give up all these kind of stuff. Sri Ramakrishna gives the example of a kite had picked up a fish from the fish market, and it's flying, and hundreds of crows are cawing behind it, trying to grab that fish. And the kite is trying to evade them, and the bird and the crows are following it. There's no peace. And finally, what the kite does is throws that fish off. And all the crows run towards that. And the moment they run towards that, the kite is free. That is what happens. As you keep on growing in knowledge, you keep on growing in renunciation. It becomes natural. You become equipoised.